You talked earlier about adapting your videos into a book, but you also have a novel that you wrote
Yeah.
that has to do with the entertainment industry
Yeah.
and religion. It's got a lot of just interesting stuff. And you made a book trailer,
Yeah.
which I watched. Was that something that someone advised you to do, or you knew all along because you're so visual as well that you wanted to? It's a cool trailer, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I had a lot of fun with it. Yeah, I mean, it is something like, in researching releasing a book independently, I was looking at everything, they're like, you got to do a book trailer, you should start doing videos that engage an audience. And all of these things, Anatomy of Chaos, this book trailer, all these things are kind of my attempt at doing these things. And so with the trailer, I wanted to do a scene. Like most trailers kind of have these like, in a world, and then it's like these flowing like kind of animated titles or pictures or montage, which some of them are cool. There's a few that are done well. But I'm like, so the novel I had originally written as a season, as a mini series. And here's the quick pitch. Basically, a reality show producer takes a hipster from Silver Lake and through a bunch of trickery and industrial light and magic, creates a prophet, an online prophet. And he says, this is gonna be a new religion. So using like all of his tricks in the entertainment industry and the reality shows, he's like, I'm gonna make this a new religion. The thing of it is it takes off and it turns into a legitimate religion, a kind of a culty, weird religion. And along the way, the prophet begins to believe, or may actually be, an actual prophet. And certain things start to happen. We're always with the main character. His name's Tommy Knox, reality show producer. He's cynical, skeptical, sarcastic, glib. He's a hilarious character. Yeah. And the whole story is these two characters, one this cynical, sarcastic person, and one a completely sincere, devout person, and the incredible conflict that they come to. At the core of it, I was really fascinated by the idea of what if there was this religious movement that took the world by storm, but it was invented by a cynical asshole, which I think is so funny and interesting. And then the places that it goes is this really dark, interesting polemic that I wanted to tell. So I structured it in such a way, like originally I conceived it as a feature years ago. The more I explored it, the more I was like, there's so much good, interesting stuff here with the characters, with entertainment and religion and the overlap of the two. It turned into, I want to do a mini series out of this. So I wrote the novel, so each chapter is like an episode. And, so it's 24 chapters, it'll be 24 episodes. And I've adapted a pilot that we're also I'm talking to a few different producers that they're taking some interest in, and but I had adapted the novel so it reads like an HBO series or a Netflix series, and it's hilarious. It's a comedy. It's completely different from Serial, but I like to think that it has the same level of sophistication and some of the characters that it's or a lot of the complex characters that are engaging in the story. So, yeah.
It took you 4 months to write?
Yes.
How many pages?
It's 100, or pages, I don't know. It's 180,000 words. So It depends however we format it, which is the average first novel, you want it to be around between 90 to 100,000 words. Mine's almost twice that because of what I wanted to do. I wanted to have, first of all, it's a story that's been in me. It's the issues that I care deeply about: entertainment, art, religiosity, and the way we build metaphors as groups of people. It's really interesting to me. And there was so much interesting fodder and places that it could go that I really wanted to take the time. And I'm self-publishing it. So, I hired some editors to edit it, and I'm really proud of it. I think it's great. The pilot's getting really good attention, and now we have a complete template for a whole mini-series for it. But yeah, it is something that's, it's a meaty tome, but it reads very sparse, very smooth.
And so it's available now on Amazon?
It is available now. In fact, we're looking at adapting it to audiobook.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is great. I'm really excited about that. That we don't have an official announcement like when it's going to be coming out, but the book right now is available. You can buy either ebook or print as well.
And the cover is really cool. You
Yeah, I
designed
painted it. I designed it and painted it. So, yeah, that's a good example of some of the painting I do. I have a classical background in classical artwork, so I oil painted, and I used to teach oil painting at Cal Arts. I lived in Mexico for a few years, painting murals, and made a trek to Italy and all that stuff. So yeah, that's a huge part of what's interesting to me about it.
And did publishers appreciate your artwork?
Some of them, I've been approached by a couple different publishers. And each publisher wants to put their brand and their approach to it. Overall I've had a really good response. My original idea was to publish the novel independently, largely to get it adapted to television. I do think it's a strong book that stands on its own. I think it's entertaining, but I'm toot my own horn. But I've been getting great reaction from it.
Have you approached any bookstores to try to get? The few that are left, to try to get it on the shelves.
I'll occasionally do signings and things like that.
Oh.
And I try to make it interesting and exciting and stuff. But honestly, it's largely an online thing. Like most of book sales, especially now, are largely online. And so I tend, and this is part of my problem, I tend to focus more on just the writing. And right now, with the stuff I'm developing and the attention we're getting with some of the stuff we're shopping around, that's kind of my main boilerplate. But profit margin is, we're keeping that going. We're keeping that flame lit.
What do people ask you at these signings? I always think that it's such an interesting, it's kind of just like this weird meet and greet, and it seems like it could be uncomfortable, but it could also be fun at the same time.
I like meeting people. I'm a social person, so I enjoy it. I've had a few people that are...
What do they ask you?
So there's one that was asking me... If you can't repeat it,
I don't know, maybe they ask you for your phone number or something. I don't know.
There's that.
Sorry.
There's okay, so profit margin, I will give this away. There's a secret narrative. And some people have tapped into that. And there's certain clues that I've written along the way. If you read it and you come to the end, there's two potential ways of interpreting the ending. And not to give too much away, but a lot of people ask me questions about so this character Michelangelo, that's a clue right there. If you start to unravel where what these characters want, what they're doing, and what they mean to the story, you can actually start to see what the secret narrative is. So there's two different ways of interpreting the same book. So a lot of it is some people are arguing about what the story actually means, which is great because that's what I wanted it to be, a polemic. I wanted it to be a conversation starter.
Is it a story within a story, or are you leaving clues?
I'm leaving clues. So basically it's, by double narrative, I mean ideally, you're reading it, trying to figure out how to say this without giving away too much. You're reading it in such a way that you're interpreting it as, okay, so for example, there are some miracles that happen. And as you're reading it, some people read it and they're like, wow, these miracles are amazing. And the other people are reading it saying, oh, these are productions. This is Tommy Knox working his productions. And he's working behind the scenes to make this look like a miracle. And so then the question becomes, is the character he creates, is he a prophet or not? And the answer to that question is within the hidden narrative. And I don't want to give that away.
Right, okay.
Which is why the book is called Profit Margin.